Hello, it's me. Today we are going to be looking at uh, this coverage by News 10 or 10 News Australian. Go over there and show them some love. Watch the full article there. Uh, Epstein, he was a perverted animal. Well, tell us something we don't know. New book reveals explosive details about Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. As if there was ever any doubt. Anyway, shall we have a look and see what they have to say?
Now, whatever you think you know about Prince Andrew, you're probably wrong. A new book suggests King Charles' younger brother is more depraved, more thoroughly unpleasant, more of a threat to British national security than you could ever imagine.
The book is entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. It is so explosive because it is not the work of some Fleet Street hack, but one of Britain's most respected historical biographers. Educated at Cambridge, a fellow of the Royal Historical Society, among other things.
Not for much longer. Look, do you remember, not so many years ago, when there was a picture that appeared of Prince Harry naked, making lewd physical gestures against the rear end of a girl as she was bending over a pool table. And there was a crowded room. Well, say crowded, there were a few people there. So, and the British press fell over themselves to say, nothing to see here, just a young royal sowing his oats, blah, blah, blah. Anything is permissible. Had this been a picture of a council estate young lad, they would have made something of it. So there are double standards. And you might think, reasonably, that should be the case because these are people whose lives are lived in the spotlight. And for all the money they've got, if you said to me, would you like to live the life of a royal? No, thank you. I mean, just what we're talking about. But because their lives are lived in the spotlight, any wrongdoing, real wrongdoing, has the potential to be outed. And so this is effectively what News 10 and other outlets are saying about Andrew and his connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Should he be prosecuted if he's done anything wrong? Yes. I'm of an old-fashioned view that nobody is above the law. And if you've done something genuinely wrong, that is a crime, not a made-up, trumped-up crime, but a proper crime. And I think many of them you could reasonably be encapsulated in, or rather under the heading of natural justice. So if something is patently wrong, then, everyone kind of gets it. In this case, the allegation against Prince Andrew is he had underage sex. He wasn't underage sex, says the person he was alleged to have been having sex with was underage. If that's the case, let's have a trial. Let's televise it. And he should have the book thrown at him if it's proven.
Dr. Andrew Lowney joins us now. Andrew, in your judgment, is Prince Andrew a sexual deviant who preys or who has preyed on underage girls?
Oh, God.
Well, it depends what you mean by underage girls. I mean, no, I think most of his sexual partners have been in their early 20s or older. But he's certainly a man with a very strong sexual drive. I would say he's a sex addict. And
aren't we all? He's got strong sexual urges. Well, there were stories of Prince Charles. Bedding girls, it was all a bit hush-hush. And the Secret Service. they've done all kinds of things that would be regarded as morally dubious when it came to looking after the people who they guard, who are in the spotlight. There's a famous bit of footage by somebody who was in the British Secret Service back in, I think, the 70s or early 80s, where there's a chap being interviewed, and it might actually be in connection with a book or something that had happened at the time. And he just says to camera, if in the instance of a politician who's been involved in, let's say, a scandal with a young boy, and he just says it like this is the way it is. And you can't be too surprised, because a lot of the British politicians come from public schools. And I think in Eton, there's a practice called fagging, I believe it's called. And my apologies to anyone if that's wrong, but I'm drawing from memory here. And it's where the older boys choose a younger boy to be their friend. Would that be a good way of putting it? And of course, assuming I've got that right. But I was reading a long time ago now, about this whole thing about, people in positions of power who seem to have this, I want to say obsession, but it's not. It's like a delectation or preference for younger individuals, if I could put it that way. So let's crack on, shall we?
Certainly, Jeffrey Epstein and others provided him with a huge array of women that he could choose from. One of the extraordinary things in the book is that even
that in itself, providing a royal with a huge array of women that he could choose from. As a royal, as someone who lives their life in the spotlight, and part of a royal family, where one would imagine the watchword is be squeaky clean at all times when in the public eye, and conduct yourself accordingly well, because this shit could come back and bite you in the ass years later. But apparently not, for reasons we've already discussed.
Was on official tour as a special representative for trade and investment. He would be bringing prostitutes into his hotel, some 40 over a 4-day period. And even Jeffrey Epstein, a man who is not unknown to the pleasures of the flesh, described him as even more sexually perverted.
Even more sexually perverted. Who procures these women for Andrew and other people in, Do you get one of your Secret Service bodyguards to sort of like trawl the red light area? It's like some seedy Monty Python sketch where a Secret Service Range Rover rolls up to, working ladies and says, fancy shagging a royal tonight, girls, eh? Well, tonight's your lucky night. They've probably got a little black book, more realistically. Yeah. Or just Epstein, because he had a little black book with a list on, apparently.
Than him.
It is extraordinary, isn't it, that relationship with the now deceased Jeffrey Epstein, of course, who...
And what's perverse, really? Who draws that line? Look, I'm an older bloke. You get to a stage in life where you become quite philosophical about many things. And my attitude is, if you're two consenting adults, sexually speaking, do whatever the fuck you want, as long as you're not hurting anyone. As long as nobody is being hurt, do whatever you want. If you want to be covered in porridge, if you want to be like painted gloss up against the wall before, somebody introduces a sexual toy to various parts of your anatomy, then who cares? You're two consenting adults. Perversion. What line would that be? I've got ideas, but I don't want to say anything on YouTube, because let's face it, the way things are here in the UK,
as you say, called Andrew both a perverted animal but also, quote, Epstein's closest friend in the world. What are we to make of that relationship?
It's all falling apart.
Well, I mean, it was a relationship driven by...
So, Andrew is ducking and diving like the best of them, trying to avoid any link to Epstein. You'd have thought with the apparently untimely death of, I think her name was Jennifer Giuffre, that's all very odd as well. That, he would have thought, oh, thank fuck for that. And he pokes his head out in public. And now this book comes out to kick him squarely in the bollocks. Oh, it's just, he's not having a good year, is he?
Money and sex. Epstein paid a lot of Andrew's bills, particularly the debts of his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. And as Andrew admitted in his Newsnight interview, he gave him access to all sorts of powerful people. On the other side, Andrew provided respectability and some contacts for Jeffrey Epstein. So, for example,
apparently not.
Andrew would take Epstein on some of these foreign trips paid for by the British taxpayer in order for Epstein to do business and give Andrew a cut. And this is why it's so important that the papers relating to Andrew's time as special trade representative between 2000...
I used to look at the royal family when I was a kid, and even I suppose a young man, really, because, you just look at these people in these, like, ivory towers with the name royal, or rather with the prefix royal attached to their name. And you just think, God, these people who are just, they're literally on a different planet. They live in palaces. Palaces! They've got gold-covered carriages that they use for special occasions. And the blingiest jewellery you've ever seen in your entire life. And when it comes down to it, they're just like us. There's no difference. They're dirty, scheming, pilfering, double-dealing, fork-tongued. I could go on. We have a phrase here in the UK, git. He's a git. She's a git. I suppose you could kind of say it's the same as jerk, maybe, in the US. Well, that's who these people are. They just move in circles where there's loads of money, loads of mystery for the rest of us, tons of intrigue, shepherded and coddled by the state. I made the point in one of my videos a while back where I said, if I was in the same position, like if I was Prince Andrew, would I do the same thing? And the answer, frankly, is probably yes. As a young man, you even not being a royal, you just, we have a phrase over here in the UK, strutting around like a dog with two dicks. Well, if you're a royal, why wouldn't you be? Surely that would be like compounded. I mean, he wasn't, an unhandsome man, dashing in his uniform. God, he must have had plenty of opportunities, and he, based on what we're being told now, he's taken advantage of most of them, as it turns out. Let he who has not sinned cast the first stone. Well, all that's fair enough, but if he's been doing something that is illegal, then he should be brought to book. Anyway, that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've got any opinion at all, do like and subscribe. And until next time, this is me signing off. Do look after yourselves.